Part 372. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu. Chapter 3711. Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, licked his lips, and his gaze was twitching all over while speaking. With a lot of thoughts, the light in the eyes became more and more bright. At this moment, both hands are trembling slightly. Ideas burst to the extreme, and feelings swept across. Who hasn't had a dream yet? For all cultivators, God's domain has always been a place of extreme yearning. The existence of the demigod realm does not have enough strength to break through the void and enter the realm of the gods. But the pseudo-god realm already has such qualifications. In one's lifetime, if one can enter God's domain, go to God's domain to have a look, and see those true gods with one's own eyes, this is the great joy of life. It's difficult to promote a false god. In our light camp, there is no one who has been promoted to the pseudo-god realm. Nor the Pope. Fang Fan raised his eyebrows, and his thoughts gradually became messy. As he spoke, his brows gradually furrowed, and his feelings gradually deepened. Pope. Ah. Thinking too much. If you really stepped into the realm of false gods, I'm afraid you can't help but enter the realm of gods. Break through the void, and the threshold to enter the realm of the gods is to be promoted to a false god. Isn't it fun to practice in God's domain? Why stay here? It's not realistic at all. Everyone is not a fool. What do you think in your heart? Can you still have no points? Actually, generally speaking, it's not too much. Now I'm afraid that if one or two false gods appear among the gods, it will be over. At that time, even if our three forces gather together, it will be meaningless. The danger factor at that time can be imagined. Among them, it's unpredictable. The more I think about it, the more anxious I feel. At that time, it will be completely useless. Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, narrowed his eyes silently, and then a different kind of brilliance flashed in his mind. In this position, the problems you think about cannot be too scattered. It is necessary to consider the overall situation in place, and there must be no slack in the slightest. It stands to reason that it shouldn't exist. This Tianlin city can already be regarded as the top city in the Protoss. But as far as I know, the Lord of Tianlin city, the Protoss, has not crossed over to the realm of false gods. So, don't worry too much about this. Fang Fan shrugged, then reminded him from the side. There is no need to involve too much in this matter. The situation is fully stabilized, and the mentality is completely collapsed. This is the most important thing. Thoughts are messy, thinking more. Why are you so sure, kid? It won't be that again. What did the wife of the city lord tell you? Snort. You two have such a good relationship. She doesn't have the slightest chance for you, she tells you everything. You kid really has a way of dealing with women. No woman can escape the palm of your kid. On the side, Shui Wanren couldn't help but began to gnash his teeth. This bastard's thing, the more I think about it, the more chaotic it becomes. Shui Wanren's heart ached when he thought of the precious daughter he had raised for so many years being ruined in the hands of such a bastard. Now I can't wait to slap Fang Fan. I have to admit that this son-in-law's ability is indeed good, and his character is also good, but this style of work is really too serious. And it has always been like this, and you can tell at a glance that you have never repented. Shui Wanren rubbed his forehead, thinking of these messy things. His heart trembled. What kind of trouble do you want to make with all the fuss? Just mess around, endlessly. Damn thing. What a jerk. Thousands of thoughts, messy thoughts, abrupt expressions. As an old father-in-law, showing such a gesture can only be said to be too real. Cough. It doesn't matter what channel the news came from. But at least it's true. At least for now, it can be stabilized. It seems that false gods are really the root of the disparity between the enemy and us. Speaking of which, after so many years, there hasn't been a false god in such a big camp of light. Fang Fan squinted his eyes. What he needs to fight at this moment is the existence of the demigod state, so he also needs to expand his vision to a higher level. Why? This false god is not a Chinese cabbage, so how can he be promoted casually? Thousands of years ago, although it was difficult for false gods to advance, it was not impossible. At that time, there were still a few false gods who stepped through the void from time to time. But now, I don't know what happened in this world. This promotion to the pseudo-god realm seems to have become a mote. Anyway, it's hard. That difficulty cannot be explained clearly in a few words. My lord has disappeared for so long, in fact, I was looking for a way to become a false god. Why? In the blink of an eye, it has disappeared for so many years. I don't know if the Lord Palace Master has found the direction. Shui Wanren groaned, and couldn't help but fall into reminiscence. Now, there are only a few possibilities for the master of the Guangming Academy who has disappeared for tens of thousands of years. Either he successfully found a way to promote the false god, and then successfully stepped through the void and left. Before leaving, maybe because he was too excited, he didn't say a word. Either something happened in the process of looking for promotion, and he just died. Or they were still in the process of searching, because they were too intoxicated, so they forgot about Guangming Academy. But no matter what, the Lord Palace Master, who has never seen the end of the dragon, can only hang a sign. In fact, the overall problem is not big, at least it shows that there is still some hope, and the way forward will not be completely cut off. Now the remaining prestige of the Lord Palace Master can still cover Guangming Academy for a while. The battle was also over. Fang Fan waved his hand, ready to let the Destroyer Artillery Legion dismantle the Destroyer Cannon, and then left the city wall. After wandering outside for so long, I am really tired. Especially the little girls like Xiangfei Xiaoliulai who have been fluttering around as soon as they saw him come back. For a while, Fang Fan gradually became restless. It also slowly became hotter. Overall, this taste is quite graceful. Hee. Everyone, wait a minute. Don't leave in a hurry. Wang Tu, the president of the Light Camp and the first-class saint of the Temple of the Light Alliance, walked over suddenly laughing, and exuded an inexplicable sense of treachery in every move. I told you. I felt something was wrong when this guy said he wanted to give Fang Fan credit. There must be tricks in this. Damn. Bastard thing. Sure enough, there is a way. This is the rhythm that wants to kill us all. Or just ignore him. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3712. Uncle G narrowed his eyes secretly, his thoughts gradually became chaotic, and his eyes gradually shone with a different kind of brilliance as he spoke. Tai Shuji's vigilance is not without reason. Even from a comprehensive point of view, the fact is probably like this. It's really not good to just leave directly in person. And this Wang disciple has already come. After all, this guy is still the president of the Light Camp, and he must obey the necessary orders. Is Saint Wang okay? Shui Wanren stood in the front. His position was very direct. He wanted to prevent the surrounding dangers, and by the way, Fang Fan was covered and protected in place, and there must be no deviation in the slightest. Hee. That's it? Just now I saw the invincible power of this giant cannon. It was really shocking. With this giant cannon, what fear do the Protoss have? Even if the Protoss doubles their troops to attack, it will be futile. Good. It's really good. Why? I didn't expect there to be such a genius in my Light Camp. Heroes are born as teenagers. Excellent, excellent. Wang Tu, the president of the Light Camp and the first-class saint of the Temple of the Light Alliance, nodded his head frequently while talking. His expression and posture really gave him a sense of gaudy. It's almost like writing the conspiracy directly on the face. What's up? Fang Fan is too lazy to argue with this kind of person. Anyway, I didn't have any good intentions in my words at the beginning, so why should I talk to such an existence? Anyway, the end result is the same. Once you see it, it doesn't matter. The corner of Wang Tu's mouth twitched, feeling a little embarrassed for a while. Is that how you treat me? So, is it really good? A flash of displeasure flashed in Wang Tu's heart, but he didn't think much about it, and immediately focused his mental power on the Mi Shen cannon. Ha ha ha. If you want to talk about things, there is really one thing. In order to resist the overall situation of the Protoss, I think it is best to place this giant cannon on the tower of Yuanxi God City, and it will be fully deployed by the headquarters of the Allied forces. In this case, we can make better use of this invincible cannon. It's also better for killing the enemy in an all-round way. In this way, those Protoss will be terrified and dare not invade. Why? This is the real great merit. A young hero like Fang Fan, the proud son of heaven, must be able to comprehend the true meaning of it. After all, this is a great thing that benefits the overall situation. As a member of my light camp, naturally I should fight for the light to the end. Invincible, invincible. This is our creed. Fight for the light. Resist the darkness. Resist the Protoss, this is our belief. If we had this invincible giant cannon early in the morning, no number of warriors in my light camp would be harmed, and they wouldn't have to sacrifice their lives. Why? Little friend Fang Fan, I have to pay tribute to you. I will definitely report this great achievement to the Pope. Your contribution to the entire light camp is obvious to all. Even, he has great kindness to the entire Allied forces. Little friend Fang Fan, I thank you on behalf of the soldiers of the light camp. The face of Wang Tu, the president of the light camp and the first-class saint of the Temple of the Light Alliance, gradually became solemn. It's a pathetic and euphemistic way to say it at this time. Isn't this moral kidnapping? What do you mean by such a high-sounding word? Is this for fear that others will not hear it or what? It's so gimmicky, it feels like my brain is bursting when I hear it. Nothing. If he just refuses now, to some extent, he will be bombarded by public opinion in an all-round way. People who eat melons who don't know the truth will be completely blackened. At this moment, Fang Fan can clearly hear the messy discussions around him. That's a good idea. This giant cannon is mounted on the top of the city. Let me see if those Protoss people still have the guts to attack. Hey. Not bad, in this case, we can also breathe a sigh of relief, and we can go back and have a good rest. This Fang Fan is a good man. Big brother Fang Fan. Have you ever thought about a question? This invincible cannon is owned by that boss Fang Fan, and those artillery should be carefully cultivated by him. In this case, I always feel that it's a little immoral. Is it really good to do this? This will make people misunderstand. What if Fang Fan doesn't want to give away this invincible cannon? Any fool knows that this thing is a treasure, who wants to throw out his treasure casually, right? So? Righteousness comes first, he won't give it? It won't work if he doesn't give it? Hee. If I had this god-destroying giant cannon, I would definitely be willing to donate it. There is something for this. You offer a few, how do you look like I haven't counted in my heart yet? Sand sculpture, to be generous to others, who doesn't know how to do this? Anyway, for everyone's safety, this invincible cannon should be placed on the tower. Everyone agrees on the generosity of others. And I can't help but raise my hands in agreement. Anyway, just move your mouth up and down like this, and you don't have to think about other things. Beautiful. For a moment, the whole person followed suit. Didn't this refreshing feeling just follow? As for the others, there is no need to talk about those bells and whistles. A smug smile appeared on the corner of Wang Tu's mouth. He felt that he was very clever and that his plan had succeeded, so he seemed very smug at the moment. The whole person just floated away. Now it depends on Fang Fan's reaction. It would be bad for Fang Fan to react now. Choose to turn in the God-destroying cannon? Put the God-destroying cannon on the wall of the Yuanxi God City? The treasure that exploded like this is equivalent to being directly confiscated, and Fang Fan may not be able to use it first in the future. It is almost equivalent to locking and controlling you directly, which is probably the case. In general, it is quite vivid and real. Another word, you say that your things are your own, you don't want to turn them in, this is personal freedom. Indeed, the truth is such a truth, everyone understands, but obviously in this case, everyone likes moral kidnapping. You have to do it if you can, and you have to do it if you can't. Public opinion will crush you to death. There will even be some sand sculptures who come out to accuse you sternly, and even attack you without hesitation. There are too many people in this world, and the most indispensable thing is sand sculptures. Especially these sand sculptures will be combined with each other. The second power of sand sculpture is the scariest. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3713. Oh shit. This dog. Grass. I vomited. Sure enough, I have no good intentions. Turtle son, what's going on? Teacher, don't pay attention to them. A group of sand sculptures, let them play by themselves. For such a sand sculpture, just ignore it. Really, just vomit. Grass. Did the kidnapping of morality come from my apprentice? What? I knew this dog had no good intentions. Why don't you say that you escaped with a few semi-artifacts and came out to town? Some people, chicken feathers are not even considered. Take a chicken feather as an arrow. Damn thing. Just because I have some power, I don't know what my last name is. All kinds of yelling and gnashing of teeth followed in an all-round way. Not much else to say, this posture is shown, and the sense of sand sculpture gradually strengthens for a while. Good guy. Can this still be played like this? I don't even bother pointing at Sang and Sang. Why, isn't this the equivalent of pointing at your nose and swearing wildly? And you can't seem to retaliate the abuse. One heart, total silence. The face of Wang Tu, the first-class saint in the Temple of the Alliance of Light, turned black into the bottom of the pot. Of course, today, his face would turn into the state from time to time. It can only be said that there are too many comprehensive complaints, so I can't grasp it for a while. Even a fool can tell that Tai Shuji's abuse is aimed at him, but Wang Tu still has to keep smiling. Too difficult. One heart, full restlessness. Playing around, it's still like this. Fang Fan. Don't stress. Just ignore him. Don't worry about moral kidnapping or something. I escort you away. This God-destroying cannon is your private property. Others are not qualified to take it away. The eyes of Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, gradually became firm. You must hold this kind of thought in your heart, absolutely, there must be no deviation in the slightest. Thoughts, take control. Fine. Since someone wants to play, just play. Ah! Fang Fan sneered, then looked directly at Wang Tu. Now they seem to be smiling on the surface, and it seems that the relationship is okay. In fact, it looks like they are killing each other behind the scenes. I can offer this giant cannon. But the premise is that you can control this giant cannon. You also need to be able to afford this giant cannon, be able to afford this giant cannon. Otherwise, isn't this just scrap iron? Fang Fan shrugged and said calmly. Ha ha ha. There is no need to worry about this. No problem. It doesn't matter. What's going on here? Young friend Fang Fan has a responsibility to take on the responsibility. It would be great if you are willing to donate the giant cannon. I have the most elite artillery here. Go up. Demonstrate to Fang Fan. Ha ha ha. Otherwise, he might not feel at ease with us. Wang Tu, the first-class saint in the Temple of the Light Alliance, beamed with joy. He feels that he has regained the game now, and he feels that he can do it again. Immediately, my thoughts were full of thoughts, and my whole person became smug. His eyes flickered across the board, his head held high, and his courage gradually gathered. Disciple, you. What are you doing? Just give in like this. This. Uncle G was in a hurry, with a distressed expression on his face. Such a good baby is exiled like this? Can you feel better in this heart? At this moment, my lips are wriggling, and my heart has long been messed up. The more I thought about it, the worse it got, the more I thought about it, the more flushed my face became, and I couldn't help panting at this moment, my eyes were all flying. Uncle G, come back. Don't you believe your apprentice? He. This guy is a ghost, can he suffer? It must be that everything is under control, that's why I'm so confident. Don't worry, it's fine. Just wait and see later. This kid, I don't know what the hell is going on. The eyes of Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, were brightened. He couldn't help nodding while talking at the moment, his eyes were slightly raised, which seemed quite exciting. Interesting. Next, is to play. This wave took off. The situation is very stable. What do you mean? What do you see? This is my apprentice. I didn't see anything, why did you see it? Uncle G stared at Shui Wanren with wide eyes. Shui Wanren. Do you want to compare the level of this shit? Really are. You are hopeless now. Why? I don't know what labor and capital are thinking. Fang Fan is your apprentice, so he is still my son-in-law. Is Fang Fan still the kind of person who is willing to suffer? If he has no backup, it is absolutely impossible to say that. Just wait and watch the show. Shui Wanren shrugged, and then said with emotion from the side. This time I'm the deputy palace master. Why? Fang Fan is a ghost, he is the only one to plot against others, and there is no chance for others to plot against him. I bumped into this kid, I can only consider myself unlucky. Why? I'm a little worried about that Wang disciple now, don't spit blood later. Bai Piao stretched her waist, with a lazy face. At this moment, not far away, Wang Tu, the first-class saint of the Temple of the Light Alliance, dispatched the best artillery in the Temple of the Light Alliance, ready to let the cannon fire. According to what I just said, as long as the cannon is fired, the invincible cannon will belong to them. How could Wang Tu be unhappy when he got such a weapon on the battlefield? The most important thing is that this method can also be used to disgust Fang Fan, a brat. One stone two bird. Under normal circumstances, star core cannons do not have fixed shells, and they are directly stuffed into star cores or fragments of god stones as energy sources. When there are enough energy reserves inside, it will form a shell by itself and launch it. Now these artillerymen from the Temple of the Alliance of Light use this method. For a while, it looked good. It really looks like that. All of a sudden, the sense of rhythm is in full swing. It's just that no matter how many high-grade star cores are stuffed into the bullet hole, there is no response. These blind ones have been stuffed in a wave, and almost tens of thousands of high-grade star cores have been stuffed in. This is converted into several fragments of the God Stone. Under normal circumstances, tens of thousands of high-grade star cores are enough to bombard hundreds of star core cannons for a while. Several artillerymen blinked and couldn't help looking at Wang-Tu. If something goes wrong, just go to the boss, it's okay. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3714. Wang-Tu, the first-class saint in the Temple of the Alliance of Light, narrowed his eyes silently. Is something wrong? Not as simple as imagined? Hateful. How did it become like this? How should this damn situation be fully resolved next? Wang-Tu's eyes flickered. If you can't handle this matter, you are really being slapped in the face. Inexplicably, I felt my brain buzzing. At that time, the majesty of being the president of the light camp will be gone. And be ridiculed across the board. Cough. The power of this invincible cannon is too powerful, so naturally it needs more energy, otherwise the invincible power will not be able to explode. Don't worry, hold on, it's just a small problem. Change energy. Exchange all the top-grade star cores for God Stone fragments. The reason why you can't fire the gun should be this problem. Small problem, nothing. Wang-Tu waved his hand, with a calm expression that had already seen through everything, and by the way, continued to pretend. Why are you still not moving? Hurry up. Don't smear the ink, okay. On the side, there were more complaints, and the momentum was directly crushed in place. The posture is surging. Wang-Tu frowned, dissatisfied. This. Master Wang Saint, we don't have fragments of the God Stone. Those artillerymen of the Temple of the Alliance of Light blinked and mourned. Too difficult. Isn't it embarrassing for them? The state of mind swelled instantly, and the thoughts gradually became messy. The more he thought about it, the more his eyes trembled, and his whole body gradually became numb. There is no need to say more about the other ones, just keep silent on the spot. That's pretty much it. The rest of those who have the problem is not big. Take it. Hurry up. Hurry up and blast this giant cannon. With a wave of Wang-Tu's hand, hundreds of fragments of the sacred stone were thrown out. Everyone is rich now. After fighting against the Protoss for so long, there are many storage rings captured by the Protoss practitioners. It is actually quite interesting to take out these storage rings. The quantity is there, and everyone who understands it understands it. For a while, thoughts flew. Put these hundreds of God Stone fragments there, and then throw them towards the bullet hole. 2. 10. 100. In the end, hundreds of fragments of the sacred stone were thrown in, but there was still no response. Suddenly, numb. His eyes trembled, and he wanted to say something, but he couldn't. Thoughts are extremely messy. Feelings gather, ideas stimulate, and nothing else. Too difficult. It's completely colder than this. Holy One, Master Saint. No, nothing. It's still missing the fragments of the God Stone. The artilleryman of the Temple of the Alliance of Light trembled with his lips, and couldn't help but tremble in fear. Mentality collapsed. At this moment, his eyes are flickering all over, and his thoughts are extremely messy. I didn't say much about the other ones, but this wave of feelings is too real. It's gone again. Hundreds of divine stone fragments. Equivalent to the energy of millions of high-grade star cores. Is it like this? Asshole. Not even a sound. What about the shells? Where are the shells? Waste. It's all trash. One counts as one, all of them. The growls gradually increased, as if they wanted to completely crush everything in front of them. For a while, there was a fierce light in the eyes, as if to destroy everything completely. Wang Tu, the first-class saint in the Temple of the Alliance of Light, felt extremely frustrated at this moment. At this moment, the hair can't help but stand up crazily. In the depths of the eyes, endless killing intent burst out. Very real and very clear. Several artillerymen huddled together, panicked. Too difficult. Mentality collapsed. His thoughts were messed up, his expression trembled, and a sense of despair came from deep in his heart, and he became numb in an instant. I'm crying right now, I really want to cry. Cry but can't cry. Too difficult. For elite artillerymen like them, it was the first time they saw such a scene, and their mentality collapsed on the spot for a while. The more I think about it, the more bored I feel. Damn. This is not a gun at all. This is the king of big stomachs. He is clearly the king of big stomachs. Damn thing. Too numb. Now, what should I do now, to make the shell explode? Explain. Wang Tu took a deep breath and forced himself to calm down. At this moment, his eyes instantly turned blood red. Even if my heart is extremely chaotic, but I still have to restrain my emotions. In the process of restraint, I feel more and more confused. Thoughts, completely bloody. I can't say a lot at the moment. Blinking his eyes, his face is indifferent. Nothing. It's just painful, painful. Want to stab, but can't find the direction. Ah. This. I can only continue to put more fragments of the God Stone into it. The artilleryman shrank his neck, and couldn't help showing a wry smile on his face. That's all I can say now, it's too difficult. I don't know how to describe the next thing. Thinking, gradually numb claws. The cool moonlight is being fully practiced to the end. Now based on experience, this is the only way to go. Invest more. How much do you want? Give me an exact number. Talk. The roar was about to completely drown out everything around it. In the depths of the eyes, endless fierce lights flickered. Even a fool can hear the resentment and anger in Wang Tu's heart. But in front of so many people, he had to maintain his image, so he could only grit his teeth and stand aside. Come and go, that's all. Totally messed up. Nothing. Finally, follow the full end. I don't know. Master Saint, such a weird canon, it's the first time for me. I don't even know what's going on. Now there is no other way but to continue to add pieces of the God Stone. Master Saint. Otherwise, forget it. Shall we go back? The artillerymen on the side couldn't help shrinking their necks, and then said solemnly. This wave is basically like this. His thoughts were messy, his expression was abrupt, and his heart was beating wildly. Numb. Directly numb the spot. For these artillerymen, they don't want to continue to toss here. After tossing and tossing, it still looks like this. Damn it. Damn. Pain. I thought I could show my face in front of Lord Saint, but I didn't expect to be slapped viciously in the end. Even now, he will even be hated by the sage, to the point of losing his life. If I knew this earlier, why did I? The more I think about it, the more complicated it becomes. It was too sloppy at first. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3715. Can't quit. No one is allowed to quit. Continue to add the God Stone fragments. Isn't it just a fragment of the Divine Stone? This thing, I have enough. Snored. Keep stuffing it in. Continue, continue. Talking to you guys. What happened? You don't understand, do you? Hurry up. The shouts and roars from the surrounding area gathered in an all-round way, and the sense of explosion gradually came into place, which made people feel excited for a while. Wang Tu's state is not right. Always feel a little crazy and presumptuous. As if to completely sweep everything around. Probably out of breath? Can't afford it? There's a lot of bells and whistles. I always feel like there's something wrong here. And it's still a problematic state. At least for now it looks very disturbing. The sense of chaos in my heart almost completely swept Wang Tuesday. Is it really good to be ashamed in front of so many people? He, Wang Tu, is the president of the Guangming camp. With his posture there, does he want to lose face? At this moment, thinking silently in my heart, I couldn't help but started to grind my teeth, and my thoughts followed. The more I thought about it, the more my feelings began to explode. The whole person gradually fell into infinite numbness. Nothing, just play. In the end, I can only be completely silent in the present moment, which is probably such an exceptionally real state. Very real and very clear. Continue to throw the God stone fragments into the cannon. Throwing hundreds of God stone fragments into it is just the beginning. It will only become more insane later on. 1,000. 3,000. 5,000. 10,000 pieces. This state is virtually numb. The whole person was stunned on the spot. I can't speak a lot of words, and I always feel a headache. In the depths of the pupils, endless ferocity flickered. Master Wang Saint, do you want to continue? If you want to continue, I will continue. The elite artillerymen from the Temple of the Alliance of Light are crying, and now they are really panicking. How did this kind of rubbish happen to him? Now he could only stare numbly at everything in front of him, and then he couldn't help but let out a soft sigh. Too difficult. Thoughts are completely messed up. Feelings are also particularly complicated. Now it's a dilemma. Neither advance nor retreat, as if all roads have been completely terminated. Wang Tu, the first-class saint in the Temple of the Alliance of Light, had a dark face, with veins popping out on his forehead. Damn. Continue. What to continue? What is there to go on? This cannon has a problem. Hee. I'm afraid I was tricked. Otherwise it would never be like this. Wang Tu let out a sneer, and then looked at Fang Fan. At this moment, he gradually came to his senses. For a long time, he was treated as a fool and played there. At this moment, I am afraid that those bastards are sending out endless ridicule in their hearts. Damn. It's all bastard stuff. Not a single good thing. The more I think about it, the angrier I get. The more I think about it, the more killing intent gathers in my heart. I can't wait to sprint out and fight to the end. Can't take it anymore. At this moment, I want to explode. Full blown. Sage Wang has wronged me. Originally, this giant cannon is not easy to activate. This requires a lot of energy. Why don't Saint Wang continue to stuff some fragments of the sacred stone into it and try? Perhaps, the cannonballs can be fired. Fang Fan shrugged and said calmly. When the matter came to the fore, it seemed to be floating for a while. The posture must be displayed in place. It's really hard to cheat him. What's the point of doing all this fancy stuff? Tossing and tossing, I can only toss myself into it. Nothing. In the end, it will only be completely terminated. The moment of death and silence is so real. This Wang disciple wants to rely on the so-called advantage of public opinion to snatch his god-killing cannon by force, so he has to be taught a lesson. You. Sharp teeth. Wang Tu's eyes flickered with anger. Now, the killing intent in this heart has reached a peak, as if rushing across the board, a heart can't take it anymore. The muscles in the face are beating wildly. With a lot of thoughts, messy thoughts, and a dark face, it is really uncomfortable that the hot blood is stuck in the heart. Wang Tu glanced at Fang Fan's position, and found that Shui Wanren was already defending very closely. Although he was a strong demigod and Shui Wanren was a weak demigod, he couldn't directly kill Shui Wanren in a short time. And if this kind of thing can't be killed with one blow, it will definitely fall into the limelight. Things will only get more complicated then. All this damn asshole to the extreme. Anyway, right now I'm annoyed. The more I think about it, the more annoying I get. The more annoying I am, the more I want to go up and do a big job. Hee hee. It seems that this giant cannon is really not easy to put directly on the tower. This giant cannon really needs to be controlled by Fang Fan alone. However, how can the fragments of the divine stone be taken out? After much deliberation, Wang Tu chose to give up. There's no need to keep messing around for this. There is no need for this, and the situation does not allow it. At this moment, thinking silently in my heart, my complexion also looks very dark. The more you think about it, the worse it gets, the more you think about it, the messy it gets. Damn thing. It's all dog stuff. What a bastard. What a jerk. Let's minimize the loss first. That's what counts. As for the matter of revenge, I can do it again in the future. Now, you must be steady now, and there must be no wandering. The obvious situation, one wave ruins everything. Oh. No more cannons. Then I'll take it back. As for the fragments of the sacred stone that were put into it, they have all been transformed into energy aggregates. Now they are stuck in the cannon, how can they be taken out? Sage Wang, don't make this joke, the point is, this joke is really bad. Fang Fan shrugged, then said calmly. The god stone fragments that have already arrived in his pocket, can they still slip away? 10,000 divine stone fragments, that's not bad. I bought the bottom of the warehouse of the city lord's mansion in Tianlin city of the Protoss before, but I only got a cash flow of 1 million pieces of the 10,000 god stone. The current Fang Fan is really extremely short of the god stone fragments. Hee hee. Hee 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 hee. Good. Very good. Speaking of which, this giant cannon's way is really not small. Then Fang Fan, you must guard this giant cannon properly. Playing with guns is risky, you must be cautious and cautious. Don't accidentally aim the cannon at your family, then you will really kill yourself. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3716. Wangtu, the first-class saint in the Temple of the Alliance of Light, continued to sneer, and his expression became more and more bleak as he spoke. At this moment, he folded his hands into fists, wishing to stab directly. That state seemed extremely insane. For a moment, one felt a tremor in the depths of one's soul. This time, his thoughts were messed up in his heart, and gradually became numb on the spot. Very real and very clear. It's almost like this. Thoughts, full gathering, feeling, sweeping. The sense of explosion is in place. Anyway, the hatred between each other is obviously deeper now. And this wave of confrontation obviously ended in the complete failure of Wangtu, the first-class saint of the Temple of the Light Alliance. At this moment, his hips stretched to the extreme. Inexplicably, there is also a sense of sand sculpture that is fully invading. All kinds of feelings around him swept across, and his complexion became increasingly ugly. This state is gradually becoming real. My CAO, is this Wang Sage scared? Strong, Fang Fan is so awesome, he can even abuse a first-class saint like Wang too. Ha ha ha. It's not just a first-class saint, this is also the president of the Temple of the Alliance of Light. Hey, it's a big deal, I can't help it, I am really convinced, and the contest with the boss is instantly crushed. It's too explosive. Boss Fang Fan is an invincible existence in the new era. In the major sanctuaries in the future, there must be the prestige of this big brother Fang Fan. Hey, this Wang disciple has a small structure, and he is also the president of the Light Camp. Why do you feel like you are always competing with your own family? Really, if you want to conspire against that invincible cannon, it's fine, you have to use some kind of moral kidnapping. Now it's alright, you can't lose money by stealing chickens. I'm dying of laughter. Hip pole stuff, I'm dying from laughing. Beauty and gaudy waves. Now this guy has become the laughing stock of everyone, there is no one who pulls hips more than him. Haha, interesting, so humming interesting. The voices of emotion gathered around, each stared wide-eyed, and their thoughts were completely fluttering. This state is very real and clear. For a moment, my thoughts were completely flying, and it was almost like this situation. It's clear and true. People's eyes are sharp. In fact, you only need to take a quick look at what you look like, and it is basically clear. The surrounding sounds are basically not effectively controlled, and if you want to listen, you can hear them every minute. This situation became clear in an instant. Wang Tu gritted his teeth secretly, feeling extremely depressed, feeling a mouthful of blood stuck in his heart and unable to get it out. I wanted to growl, but couldn't express it. It's uncomfortable, disgusting, and crotch-stretching. My mind is broken. There's a lot of bells and whistles. It's just for fun. There is no specific rhythm. Wang Tu silently walked 2 steps forward, and then left the place directly. It's pointless to stay here. Is it possible to continue to be ridiculed by these bastards? He couldn't bear it, and he didn't want to bear it. At this moment, there is only endless tyranny in my mind. Teacher, I knew you had a way. It's not easy to deflate this bastard. Not bad. Call. Finally let out a sigh of relief. Otherwise, the state just now is almost disgusting. When I see this bastard, I can't bear it. Hey, I really want to go up and do a big job. It's just that the cultivation base is stretching the hips. Whenever I break into the demigod state, I only need to be in the demigod state, and I will have a fight with this bastard. Oh shit. Humming. Taishaji couldn't help but yelled out. Now I really feel a sense of joy. You kid is really bold. That Wang disciple is indeed not a good person, but after all, he is a first-class saint in the temple, and he is still a strong demigod. If he really wants to kill you forcefully regardless of everything, it's really not easy to do. Why? I told you so much, just to let you keep a low profile in the future. There are still many external dangers. Sometimes it's impossible to take care of everything. Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, sighed with emotion, and then persuaded him from the side. As long as that scene occurs once, it is an extreme risk. If you can't stand it, it will be completely cold. Do not worry. Eat radish salty and worry about it. The emperor is not in a hurry and the eunuchs are in a hurry. Kid Fang Fan already understood everything. It's already ready to run. You really think he likes to face risks? I've been with Fang Fan for so long, I can see him thoroughly now. This guy looks quite honest on the surface, with a cute appearance, but secretly he is more flashy than anyone else. Why? If you are an enemy of this kind of person, I'm afraid you won't even be able to sleep well. Of course, it's very cool to be friends with someone like Fang Fan, because you don't have to worry about danger. This guy's luck has improved. Even if it is a near-death scene, there is basically no problem with him, and he can turn the danger into good fortune in the end. Bai Piao raised her eyebrows, and then sighed. That said, it seems quite true. It sounds a bit messy, but these truths seem very real. The words are rough and the rationale is not rough. However, I'm still very curious. Even 10,000 pieces of God's stone can't fill up the energy of this giant cannon. Is it possible that a single cannonball is worth more than 10,000 pieces of God's stone? When the cannon fired, there were thousands of fragments of the divine stone. If that's the case, it's a little too crazy. Although this shell is very powerful, it doesn't work if the bombing cost is too high. Why? Could it be that this giant cannon can only be used as a deterrent weapon in the future? Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, groaned and couldn't help sighing. That's just to fool that Wang disciple. Although the energy required to condense the shells of this giant cannon is quite a lot, it is naturally impossible to reach the level of 10,000 fragments of the divine stone. He. It can only be said that there are some mysteries in this giant cannon. Unless these god-killing artillery soldiers under my command can be activated, other people will get this giant cannon, and it will be a pile of scrap iron. Fang Fan shrugged, very confident. This is the elite army he has cultivated. It would be too spicy if it collapsed so easily. I see. You bastard has a lot of secrets. Shui Wanren squinted his eyes and couldn't help but glance at Fang Fan several times. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3717. The war situation was over, and except for the necessary detection and defense, most of the troops had withdrawn to the Yuanji God City. Of course, you can't leave directly now, who knows if those Protoss troops will come back with a carbine. The Protoss suffered heavy losses this time, and there is a high probability that they will not let it go. Now, for the Allied forces of the light, dark and neutral camps, instead of relaxing, they must be more vigilant. They need to fully consider, what if the Protoss army invades again? If the Protoss attack will be continuous and long-term, how will it be treated? What position should Yuanji Shencheng rise to? In the future, will the Allied forces permanently station their main forces here? Or, do you want to choose to abandon the territory of God's land? Completely block the passage into the territory of the gods? These are all unknowns. Invisibly, there is always a question mark. A lot of things, showing a little confusion, need to be fully practiced. After the Protoss army withdrew from the Yuanji God City, it looked quite quiet here, but there was an undercurrent surging invisibly. It is worth mentioning that Caog, the first inspector of the original city guards of the Guangming God City, has now successfully survived the demigod thunder tribulation after avoiding many obstacles, and has stepped into the quasi-demigod state from the supreme holy state. This step forward is a comprehensive transformation for anyone. In fact, there are still quite a few supreme saints in the Temple of the Light Alliance of Light. Their status is considered to be upper, but they don't have much right to speak, so they can't be regarded as absolute upper. But quasi-demigods can directly apply to become a third-class saint in the Temple of the Alliance of Light. One step across, and the color of the sky and the earth will change completely. This step has been successfully crossed, and now it is different. In the midst of unpredictable changes, the situation has become fully clear. Caog, have such a day too. Ha, ha 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 ha. If one survives, there will be future fortunes. My Caogs tomorrow will definitely be brighter. Yes, that's it. That's it. Call. I can't be nervous, I have to be steady. A heart, beating violently. Collapse completely. This damn thing. Caog couldn't help but began to gnash his teeth. When I think of what I have experienced before, I can't grasp the infinite sullen feeling in my heart at this moment. At that time, Wangtu, the first-class saint in the Temple of the Light Alliance, wanted to vent his tyrannical mood, so he stretched out his hand and put it on his shoulder, and then frantically started kneading, and then crushed his bones directly. At that time, the extreme pain hit him, which almost made him feel desperate. That picture, that feeling, is completely cool. After thinking about this, his expression was indifferent, and his whole body became numb on the spot. The extreme pain is still lingering in my mind. Wang Tu. I will do my best to be loyal to you, but you treat me like this. Damn thing. I didn't offend you, I just crushed my shoulder. Hee hee. I'm just a tool for you to vent. To be precise, I should be worse than a dog. Not even a dog. Oh shit. The labor and capital's allegiance to you is for revenge. Now you make frequent mistakes in revenge, but you still want to attack me. You bastard has become the enemy of labor and capital. When the labor and management find an opportunity, I'll just abolish you. Damn. Anyone who offends me, I will remember it silently, and when the right opportunity comes, I will know. One counts as one, get out. Caog licked his lips, on the surface he was calm, but in his heart he was already cursing. At this moment, there was a lore aura all over his body. The more I think about it, the more excited I get, the more I think about it, the more excited I get. Gradually, the eyeballs turned green directly. In the past, his cultivation base was too hip, so he didn't dare to have any other ideas. But now, it is completely different, now he can stand up directly. At this moment, he is a noble demigod. Cardinal Caog. Oh no, I should call him Master Caogician soon. What is Mr. Caogician hiding here? Secretly excited. What? Are you planning to kill me? Hee hee. An indifferent voice sounded from behind. Caog's body and mind trembled, and he was hit at this moment, and a bitter smile appeared on his face. That shadow, here again. Damn it. How could he go to serve such a dog when he was blinded? Now there is only endless regret in my heart. The more I think about it, the more bitter and inexplicable I feel. Too difficult. My thoughts are messed up, and my mind explodes. Ah. Yes, it's Lord Wang. My lord is joking, what kind of saint am I? I'm just a hot chicken. In the minds of my subordinates, there is only Lord Wang, a sage. Master Wang Saint is the sky and the earth of his subordinates. Without the blessing of Lord Wang Saint, this subordinate would be a dead person by now. Master Wang Saint has given me the grace of rebuilding. Caog raised his eyebrows, his expression changed instantly, and he became like a dog leg. All I can say is, it's so real. This thing is full of bells and whistles. How should I put it? To live in this era, you have to talk to people and talk to ghosts. This is actually one of Caog's specialties. Blind fawning, there must be a little bit. Hee hee. Sage Caog is really humble. You are also a demigod now, why are you so restrained? I was really pissed off by that Fang Fan before. I didn't pay attention to proportion and accidentally pinched Caogician's shoulder. How is it now? If there's something uncomfortable, just say it. Don't be restrained, don't be restrained. Wang Tu, the first-class saint in the Temple of the Alliance of Light, smiled and seemed very amiable. But Caog didn't dare to follow this guy's words. This guy is a smiling tiger. At a time like this, he might even have the intention to kill. If you really show an indifferent attitude towards him, I'm afraid it's really not good. This wave must be fully stabilized. Mentally collapsed. Thousands of thoughts, consciousness gradually messed up. He definitely can't beat him, he just broke into the demigod state, he's just the most hip quasi-demigod, and this Wang Tu has stepped into the strong demigod state for many years. Being both demigods, there is still a gap, and it can even be said that they are not the same. For a while, the pressure gradually increased. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3718. Uncomfortable. No. It was very comfortable at the time. Beating is kissing and scolding is love. Master Wang Saint loves me every move he does. It is the honor of Caog's life to be loved by Lord Sage. Lord Saint, I beg you, please, love and love your subordinates again. I like that feeling. Comfortable and exciting. Master Saint, come on. Caog's voice gradually became sharper. Perhaps because of the comprehensive mutilation of the genital organs, his body has also been modified to some extent. For example, the voice line has actually become thinner and sharper. The voice gradually became distorted. Wang too subconsciously shivered. It doesn't matter about physical attacks or anything, they can still bear it. Who can withstand this kind of magical attack? In an instant, the mentality collapsed. At this moment, his eyes were stunned, his complexion was pale, and a sense of nausea hit him. Oh shit! What the hell, are you acting like a baby? A bad old man, acting like a baby. Grass. Even if you're not a beautiful woman, you have to be a pretty face, right? That's it, who are you scaring? It's annoying to look at the shriveled stuff. Roll. Damn thing. Don't hate labor. After you were frankly castrated, did your whole body also become crippled? If you do this again in the future, just kill it. The first-class saint in the Temple of the Alliance of Light trembled, and his whole body was swaying. As he spoke, the cold sweat on his forehead grew more and more. This time, my mind is full of thoughts, and my thoughts are completely messed up. This wave of mentality has already collapsed. Too difficult. Weeping and crying here, but also a hammer. Just play like this, nothing. Yes, 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 yes. Don't dare, never dare again. As long as my lord don't dislike me. I promise that I will never dare to do this again in the future. Call. Without the protection of Lord Saint, Caog was frightened, so he said some unpleasant things in a short time, and please Lord Saint, don't blame him. In this life, Caog can only have a chance of survival if he follows Lord Saint. If not, I might as well commit suicide here and come clean. The enmity of the subordinates can only be hoped for by the Lord Saint, and there is hope for revenge. Lord Saint treats me like a reborn parent, Caog knows it well, Caog is endlessly grateful. Caog lowered his head, and then the flattery on his face reached the extreme. It can only be said that this guy is really talented in acting. For example, now, that said, that is called a surge of excitement. All kinds of ideas and thoughts gathered in the mind, and the whole person gradually took off in an all-round way. Probably such a very real gesture. Very realistic and clear. A wave, floating here. Of course, it is said like this, but what is in the heart is unknown. Snort. You're honest. You have to know that if it weren't for the blessing of the saint, you would have been beaten to death by the group of Guangming Academy, and you can still live to this day. Don't think that if you have been promoted to the quasi-demigod level now, your wings will be hardened. You can't. You are still far behind. Without this saint, you are nothing. Of course, as long as you are loyal to the saint, this saint will never treat you badly. In the future, there will definitely be a place for you in the Temple of the Alliance of Light. By the way, how to deal with that Fang Fan next, come up with a charter for me. Asshole. This saint is absolutely not reconciled. Wang Tu, the first-class saint in the Temple of the Alliance of Light, trembled his lips, and murderous aura overflowed from the depths of his eyes. Every time he meets that hateful Fang Fan, he, the president of the Light Camp and the first-class saint of the Temple of the Light Alliance, will suffer a wave of comprehensive ridicule. Enough. Really enough? Totally had enough? At this moment, the indignation in the depths of his heart was welling up in his heart, and in the depths of his eyes, endless murderous light flickered. Thousands of thoughts, messy thoughts, and gnashing of teeth are fully displayed. He couldn't believe it anymore. How could he fail time and time again in the presence of a powerful demigod, a dignified first-class saint in the Temple of the Light Alliance? Terrible. Every time it seems to be a steal. In the end, he, a first-class saint, became the biggest joke. For example, if you wanted to capture the invincible giant cannon before, you couldn't let you fire the cannonball no matter what, and wasted tens of pieces of the Pantheon stone. These dirty things were spinning wildly in his mind. Wang disciple was about to vomit blood for a while. Damn it! I'll be damned. These shames must not be let go just like that. The more you think about it, the messy it gets. If I don't avenge this revenge, I will become an eternal shame. We must, revenge to the end. In the seemingly peaceful Yuanqi God City, there are undercurrents surging inside. After the war, I don't know how many things need to be dealt with comprehensively. Fang Fan came to the Hall of Merit and Honor to exchange for his contribution points. The first step is naturally to find the current master of the Hall of Merit, Ji Lan, the Dean of the Tianwu Academy and the Lord of the Divine City of the 7th Academy. Fang Fan, according to calculations, you killed and brought back the heads of 3 Protoss and demigods, with a total of 3 million contribution points. Also, before you used the invincible cannon to bombard the enemy's rear and injured at least tens of thousands of enemies. According to the contribution point calculation rules, 1 contribution point is counted for ordinary Protoss soldiers in the 6-star sanctuary and below, 10 contribution points are counted for elite Protoss practitioners in the 7-star and 8-star sanctuary realms, and 100 contribution points are counted for low-level saints and mid-level saints. Contribution points, high-level saints, and Protoss at the peak of the Holy Realm count 1000 contribution points. For it, these tens of thousands of Protoss cultivators are worth at least 1 million contribution points. In addition, Fang Fan, you have outstanding military exploits, you need additional rewards, and you need to calculate another 1 million contribution points for you. Together, that's 5 million contribution points. Little friend Fang Fan, with 5 million contribution points in hand, you can choose all the treasures in the Hall of Merit at will. Little friend Fang Fan, young hero. Why? If this battle hadn't been for the help of Fang Fan, the war would have lasted at least another month, and the final result has not yet been predetermined. It's not like now, the Protoss fled in panic. I, Ji Lan, have rarely admired anyone in my life, but today, little friend Fang Fan really admires me. Ji Lan was deeply moved, and the depths of her eyes were full of shock. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't believe it just by what others said. In the past, Fang Fan's performance in front of the God City of the 7 Courts was good, but he was still in the ranks of the evil geniuses. But now his performance in front of Yuanqi Shencheng has exceeded a certain limit. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3719. There is no comparison between the two. She farewell for 3 days, you should look at each other with admiration. This is getting more and more trembling the more you look at it. In Ji Ian's view, compared with an existence like Fang Fan's, those so-called geniuses of heaven's pride are simply wasted their reputation. Not worthy of. They are not worthy to be compared with little friend Fang Fan. Ji Lan, the master of the Hall of Merit, the dean of the Tianwu Academy, and the city master of the God City of the 7th Academy, spoke with more brilliance in his eyes. This time, a pair of cloudy eyes flickered. The more you look, the more excited you become, and the more you look, the more surging. These seem to be not clear in a few words. Very real and very real. It is more than words. For it. Hall Master Ji Lan, what, is there anything else? Fang Fan raised his eyebrows, feeling that something was wrong with Ji Ian's eyes, just staring at him like this. Those eyes seemed to have barbs on them, with a little hook. Fang Fan could be hooked bloody directly walk. The eyes are too sharp. No. Nothing. I just feel that such a proud son of heaven didn't show up in my Tianwu Academy. Why? Fang Fan, if you are willing to come to my Tianwu Academy, the dean can let you be. Ji Lan smashed her mouth, couldn't help but sighed softly. But after thinking about it, I also feel that this is definitely fantasy and falsehood. This kind of thing is unclear. Nothing. It's best to have an idea in your heart, but if you don't have an idea, you can only stick to it. Hall Master Ji Lan was joking. By the way, give me those 5 million contribution points and exchange them with Godstone fragments. I remember that 100 contribution points can be exchanged for one piece of Godstone. 5 million is 50,000 Godstone fragments. Fang Fan nodded, looking very satisfied. Godstone fragments are not enough. This thing will completely collapse ideologically. Now Bai Piao has gradually started to empty out the treasures he got from the warehouse of the Protoss Tianlin City Lord's mansion little by little. Now the Godstone fragments owned by this place are also increasing in an all-round way. Immediately, the only mid-level saint-level ruling unicorn holy beast army under his command can also be promoted to the high-level saint status. At that time, the top 10 legions will all be high-level saints, and the momentum can shake all dissatisfaction. For a while, this oppressive feeling gradually came into place. At the moment of full-scale takeoff, inexplicably, people feel their thoughts fluttering. Very exciting, but also very surging. Replace all of them with Godstone fragments. This is too bad. I have a lot of treasures here, all of which were jointly prepared by the three parties. Look, there are quite a few demi-artifacts over there. Ji Lan couldn't help reminding. But to be honest, these are really not very attractive to Fang Fan. At a glance, it looks like that. This. Demigod level weapons or something. I don't lack. Fang Fan shrugged, then sighed, and then calmly grabbed a handful from the storage ring. Is there anything in the warehouse of the Lord's mansion of Tianlin City, the upper city of the Protoss? None of these things. Not a big problem. Once the thoughts are in place, the whole person floats away. This. Cough. The quality is indeed much better than here. Then, there are many magical books. Ji Lan still did not give up, and then wanted to continue persuading. Does Master Ji Lan think that there will be a lack of such magical books in our Guangming Academy? I can't finish watching those, let alone do this, it's nothing. Fang Fan shrugged and said calmly. That's it? Then do you want a group of high-level war slaves? There are still a few war slaves in the Holy Realm here, which can be exchanged for guards. Oh, let's forget about this. Young friend Fang Fan is surrounded by a cloud of masters. This, so it really is, there is really nothing to exchange for. Why? Speaking of such a huge hall of meritorious service, there are countless treasures here, but now that I think about it, there is really nothing special about it. It's a wise move for Fang Fan to exchange for the Godstone fragments. Ji Lan pondered for a while, and didn't bother to continue persuading her. Just as he was about to exchange Fang Fan's contribution points for Godstone fragments, Fang Fan's expression suddenly changed. Ah! Why did my heart throb suddenly? Fang Fan frowned, then subconsciously walked towards the distance, with an abrupt and weird expression. Immediately afterwards, he saw a young girl imprisoned in a cage. The girl was very dignified, with a delicate mask, and her eyes were very different. When she saw Fang Fan, those eyes seemed to flash suddenly. For a while, Fang Fan's heartache gradually disappeared. "Husband, what's the matter with you? Why is your heart hurting? Please speak. Where else are you uncomfortable? Let's go get the pastor, shall we?" On the side, concubine Xiang saw Fang Fan frowning, and couldn't help but rushed forward to care for it. "Fang Fan's acting skills are getting better and better. I thought this guy really felt some pain." Co-author, this is all bullshit. Good guy. Can you still play this trick? It's really the best. Whether it hurts or not, it's clearly for the beauty. Hey, after seeing the beautiful woman, my heart doesn't hurt anymore, and my expression doesn't twist anymore. It's so real. Men are big pigs. This kid doesn't change his lust. Hee hee. The country is easy to change, and the nature is hard to change. I'm sorry for this kid who came to educate me all day long. Bai Biao rolled his eyes, and walked over from the side, talking full of complaints. That's the nature of this guy. But this guy thinks he won't miss any chance to criticize Fang Fan. Probably feeling that this is a special kind of fun? Husband, are you really like this? Husband, I don't think you are this kind of person. You're not the kind of person who can't walk when you see a beautiful woman. Husband. Concubine Xiang blinked, and then said coquettishly at the side. While speaking, his eyes flickered, this time his thoughts seemed to be messed up, and his consciousness was flying. Xiangfei. Haven't you seen this guy's character? What's the use of asking him? Nothing. A man's mouth, a deceitful ghost, just look at his behavior. This guy loves the new and dislikes the old. There's just not enough of this guy. I fell in love with one when I saw one, and then I wanted to get into bed. I see it through. Son of a bitch. Dog man. I really want to castrate him. Chu Ceci has always been a fiery temper, so she couldn't help but speak. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3720. That being said, it is simply invincible. When talking, Ri couldn't help taking a sneaky glance at Fang Fan's lower body. The corner of Fang Fan's mouth twitched. This woman is completely in need of cleaning up. If you find an opportunity, you still have to clean up. Otherwise, wouldn't this be a catastrophe? If you make a fuss about it, you have to follow it around. This time, it wasn't dominated by desire at all. It was purely a pain in my heart, and then Fang Fan seemed to have received a special guidance, and then came to the girl locked in the cage. After seeing the girl in the cage at this moment, the pain in my heart disappeared, and there was also an inexplicable sense of closeness. This feeling is not pretended, it is the most real feeling from the bottom of my heart. How come? How so? Am I really that superficial person? Can't walk when you see a beautiful girl? Is it possible? I, Fang Fan, asked myself that although I like women, it's not to such an extent that I'm intoxicated. Why is this happening? Could it be that there is some special magic circle set up here, which makes my Taoism confused? The girl locked in the cage, did she learn some special charm? So, she is confusing my heart. Well, it should be like this, I am innocent. Fang Fan nodded, and gradually felt a sense of certainty in his heart. Being tricked for the first time in his life, Fang Fan naturally wouldn't let it go, and then strode forward, his sharp eyes swept across, and stared viciously at the girl in front of him. Why, target me? Fang Fan's gaze became sharp instantly, and the beautiful girl imprisoned in the cage suddenly started scratching her head frantically. Ah! Ah! Don't, don't! God! God! You are God! My God! My Lord! Lena greets the master. Boom! Bang bang bang! The glamorous girl suddenly uttered nonsense, then surrendered in front of Fang Fan with a solemn expression on her face. He started calling Fang Fan a god at every turn. That's what I said. For a while it seemed very gimmicky. God. Where is the god? Not even a ghost. This woman is quite beautiful, but I didn't expect to be a psychopath. Really are. Bai Piao muttered, and then complained. Just at this time, the girl locked in the cage suddenly turned around, her sharp eyes swept across, and there seemed to be a blue light flashing in her eyes, followed by Bai Piao who couldn't help but began to tremble lips. Ah! Cao. This woman sneaked up on me. What the hell am I? This woman has no good intentions. Ah! My head hurts like hell. You son of a bitch. Damn it, I didn't offend you. As for making fun of me like this. Bai Piao muttered, and couldn't help but began to complain all over. While speaking, his eyeballs rolled and his face gradually darkened. Too difficult. Thoughts gradually became messy. My brain is buzzing. No. It's been good before. I just don't like talking very much. I don't know how I was arrested. This. If it's too dangerous, I'll deal with it right away. Little friend Fang Fan, I'll take you to another place for a stroll. Ji Lan took a deep breath, then wiped the cold sweat off her forehead, and then hurriedly prepared to take Fang Fan to other places. Fang Fan was his honored guest, and if something went wrong, he would have to bear the blame. Need not. I want her. Let her out. From now on, she will be mine. Your name is, Lena. Fang Fan looked at the beautiful girl in front of him, and there were some bony injuries on her body. Yes, my God. Great God, why did you abandon us for so long? Our Alice family has inherited the position of goddess for thousands of years. It has been passed down to my generation. The reason is to wait for the return of the great God, who can use our body to revive his soul. The glamorous girl locked in the cage opened her bright eyes wide, and while talking, she immediately knocked her head on the ground with a surprised look on her face. Fang Fan pondered silently. In fact, he thought of a possibility in his heart. This beautiful girl is from the desolate race. Because Fang Fan is now a virtual origami, replacing the origami to some extent, so he will naturally inherit everything that belongs to the origami. This desolate race has always been loyal to the desolate god. As for the special connection between him and this girl before, maybe it was the connection between the virtual god of desolation and goddess of desolation race. This feeling is extremely wonderful. Inexplicably, it feels a little unreal. Really? Just pretending. Now it's time to go. Fang Fan. Do you still have enough? Now there are 4 or 5 around you. I heard there were many before. Are you trying to form a squadron of your women? Chu Ceci gritted her teeth and couldn't help rolling her eyes while talking. Although your natural ability is indeed not bad, but I don't believe that you can support so many women. Can't you feel sorry for your body? Do you have to empty out your body? Do you have to empty it into a coffin bag? You. Chu Ceci was out of breath at the moment. The more she talked, the more excited she became, and the more she talked, the sound of her breathing became more and more difficult. At this moment, the eyeballs are trembling all the time, and all kinds of feelings in my heart are bursting out in an all-round way. For a time, the excitement reached the extreme. Invisibly, the consciousness became fluttering. This feeling is wonderful. Stimulation, in place. The feeling is profound. Thoughts, messy. God Lord, who is this woman? How dare she offend you? I help the Lord God kill her. After Lena got out of the cage, her expression suddenly changed. She was standing next to Fang Fan with a loyal attitude, and she was hostile to anyone who disrespected Fang Fan. What? Kill me? Okay, I didn't get through the door now, and it started like this? If this really came over, what kind of chaos would it be like? Fang Fan. You, tell me the truth, do you still want her or me? To put it bluntly, isn't it just that you like the new and hate the old? A man like you, I've seen through it a long time ago. You bastard, how can you still look like this? Whoa, Chu Sisi, am blind. Chu Sisi began to cry bitterly, wiping away her tears.